Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday.
Welcome, welcome,
Yes,
welcome
happy
to
Thursday.
another show. I'm so excited. I am so excited because I believe every week I say this, but I really do believe that each week the show has a topic that I believe we could all benefit from. And this week is definitely no different. But in the meantime, I want to say welcome to everyone that has joined us. I'm going to ask my guests if they remember, go ahead and share this show with your friends and your family on your social media pages right now. I'm going to share this stream on RETV Talk, Streaming Positive Black Entertainment, to your page so that everybody can join in. Hi, Camille, that's who just said hey, hey to all of us.
Hello,
That's my cousin.
hello.
Camille said hi to everyone. So I have let me just tell you something. How I am amazed, you all. Y'all just don't know. Like getting the show together every week, you always want it to go well, and you hope that the topics again, resonate with everyone. And this week, I had no idea that hi Narada, thank you
Hi,
for coming in
Narada.
today. Two of the
Hi,
ladies on the
Narada.
show have experienced some of the same issues. And as women, I just wanted to talk tonight. Hey, Tasha, I'm just so happy that you all are tuning in because, and please, as I always say every week, join in the conversation, ask questions. We're just going to talk tonight as ladies, just some of the changes that we've experienced. And everybody that's on the live tonight, we're not ashamed to say that we're in our 40s. Thank God we don't look like what we've been through because we all have a story to tell, And I will say this: I really I want to thank Nicole for coming on. Auntie Cindy, hello, good evening.
Hi, Mom.
Um, we have the lovely Nicole, who's the first lady of RETV television. So
Woohoo.
with her and her husband, this is
Yes.
how we're able to come on tonight, right? This is so awesome. We have the beautiful Anna Maria. That's how we really pronounce her name. But for those of us that's known her a long time, we just say Anna. And she's going to share
Or
her
Anna Banana
journey.
from high school.
And my banana, yes.
That's
And then
right.
yes, banana. Then our lovely Arshella. Let me tell y'all this about Arshella. She actually put a video up the other day, and she was talking about how women need to do better at taking care of themselves. And I said, man, it would be so lovely for her to come on. And you all know I'll be the first to say, when it comes to social media, if somebody sends me a message on there, I may not get to it right away. So Arshella replied much later than I had already made the post. And I called her today, you all, and I just said, if you have the time, are you willing to come on and just share some of your journey with the ladies? And she said, certainly. She's out of town. And I'm just so grateful that she's come on. And I will say this about Arshella. I said this before we went live when I was talking to her earlier. She's been on this health journey for a long time.
Yeah.
She was one of the first, like when I say just natural across the board, just a natural, this is an all natural woman right here. Everybody is on here. But Arshella was doing that, a long time ago. So Nicole, we're going to start with you. Let's talk a bit about your journey, this 40 something, just the changes. The title of the show tonight, you are changes. Hey, everybody that's joined in. Hi, Tyron.
Hi,
And I'm
babe.
not sure who it is. Oh, Tina. Hey, Tina. That's who said, hey, y'all. So this is the changes that we
Hey,
go through
guys.
as women. We have some internal issues and we have external issues. We realize our hair changed. After you done had children, your body definitely changes.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about some of the internal and external. Nicole, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So I noticed changes about 12 years ago. And it really was centered around my first symptoms that I truly noticed were chronic fatigue. And at that time, my daughter was only, she was in she was still in elementary school then. And I knew that, we really we did a lot, but not to the point of where I was feeling chronic fatigue, very tired to be able to get up, excessive weight gain. brain fog here and there, but that didn't really come full-fledged until later. And would go to doctors during, your monthly wellness checkups and explain symptoms. And I always got textbook answers, and realized that the certain symptoms I was having appeared when I was really stressed, whether that was, a lot of times it had to do with stress from working in corporate America. Fast forward to right before the pandemic. It got so bad to the point where I knew something was wrong, because I began to see external changes in what I affectionately like to call my private face, the lady genital areas, but the external part, right? And I was like, something is definitely wrong. Doctor would check me out, all tests come back clear. And I'm like, but I'm not getting any answers. And at the same time, I was then having like memory loss, the very bad brain fog, where it was just like, it just was not clicking. My, ability to speak, off the cuff or think sharply, it was gone. Well, I remember being at work one day and I was just in tears, like, God, please, I know I'm not going crazy, but nobody's giving me any answers. I have no idea what's going on. So I finally went to a dermatologist, because what I was experiencing was extreme itching to the point where you thought that I would have had like a yeast infection times 100. Okay. But again, there was no what you would typically see with a yeast infection, right? So I went to my gynecologist. She says, no, Nicole, you're perfectly fine. I'm like, I'm not perfectly fine. I wish people would stop saying that. Long story short, she recommended me to go to a dermatologist. From the dermatologist, that dermatologist sent me to a vulva specialist. And I said, I never knew there was such a thing, meaning a specialist. Went to this specialist. She saw me right away and she's like, oh, I know exactly what you have. You have what's called an autoimmune disease. And I was like, an auto what? That was my first time even hearing that term. And she said, it's called lichen sclerosis. And I said, never heard of this. No family history of this. How can we get rid of it? And she goes, there's no cure. And my natural self, I just began to weep, because I was like, I can't live the rest of my life like this. I mean, it's inhibiting my ability to walk, my ability to sleep soundly at night. It's waking me up. It even starts to inhibit our sex life between my husband and I. I'm like, this is not living. And I believe in the word. And he says that we are here to live life more abundantly. And and at the time, I was only 43 years old. Something's got to give. Yes. And of course, they put you on steroids and did that for a while. Fast forward now I told y'all that was like 3 years ago, right? Fast forward to today, just a month ago, had a biopsy done, 4 biopsies in that region, mind you, which was not for the faint of heart. And test results come back and she's like, well, there are 4 stages to this autoimmune disease. You started at phase 1, you're now at phase 2. And I said, well, we going in the wrong direction. What's the problem? Because you're telling me everything else is fine. I changed my eating. I started working out. My water intake is superior. What's going on? And she says, to be perfectly honest with you, it's the medication. And the 4th phase of this disease is a cancer diagnosis. And I said, well, you know what? It stops here. I'm no longer using this medication. That same day, I was so distraught. I cried the entire way home. But as I'm driving home, the Holy Spirit tells me, go to the CBD store. I go to the CBD store. And at this point, I'm like, I'm ready to be a full disclosure. Anybody who's willing to hear my story, I'm going to share it. I'm very private. Toya knows for me to be on here is not normal, but
tell them what the Holy Spirit told you.
yep. Oh, regarding the show, 2 weeks before she called me to ask me to come on the show, the Holy Spirit gave me a dream and said, Toya is going to call you and ask you to be on the show and share your story. You must tell it. And I was like, ooh, in front of people? No. But then I went back to my very first days in the last 3 years and I was like, oh, I have to share my story because I don't want another woman to go through this in silence.
Yes.
I go to the CBD store. Full disclosure, this is a Black-owned CBD store. The owner is a Black female. I said, TMI, this is what I'm experiencing. I need some help. And she goes, wait a minute. I was diagnosed with that same autoimmune disease at the beginning of the pandemic. I said, you lying to me. I've never met anybody who's experienced this other than the online support system that I found, but nobody face to face. We spent an entire hour. Do you know her and her sister, who are herbalists, gave me a salve mixture that's all organic. And that was 2 weeks ago, ladies. In the last 2 weeks, I have not had one symptom. And I'm going to stop right there because we got other ladies who need to share their story.
But let me tell you something that's beautiful. This is the importance of us talking.
Yes, Tasha, there is.
We have to talk. And Nicole, I commend you for sharing that. Because again, like you all know, I've said this openly. Sometimes I don't know what the title of the show will be. And when I thought about it, that there are countless women, I believe, that are suffering in silence and they are embarrassed. And you didn't do anything. We cannot be afraid to talk. We cannot be mute when something is going on with our bodies. And, the acronym for pain, is pay attention inward now. When something is off, we need to respond to that. And that's something that Anna and I were talking about before. So Anna, I'm going to allow you to jump in and share your story.
Like you, Nicole, my story kind of happened later on in life after 40. I just turned 43. So this was this started the end of 2021, going into 2022. So, like you have any like drastic type of symptoms, I had gradual. So for mine, it was more so seeing more shedding in my hair. And everyone else, you would ask like, does it look like my hair is getting thinner? Does it look like it's getting thinner? And everybody, no, you're fine, you're fine. You have all this hair, you're fine. But I knew me. So that's one of those when you're noticing things in your body, you listen to it. And I ended up going to the dermatologist because I just knew that this is more shedding than what regular shedding should be. And unfortunately, my first dermatologist, I came in there, he looked at my scalp and was just like you, oh, go get some Rogaine and, we'll prescribe you something and go about your way type thing. But then that wasn't a good solution either, because reading the side effects of all of those things, I just didn't want any really long-term dependency on medications and things. But to speed the process up, long story short, I went to got a second opinion. That dermatologist actually did the same thing. I had what was called a scalp biopsy. And from that biopsy is when it came back that I had scarring, what they call scarring alopecia. And from that type of form, there's two types. You have non-scarring and scarring. Scarring alopecia is only going to come from, like you said, autoimmune. It's considered a symptom of autoimmune. So once we got that diagnosis back, then I was sent to a specialist to determine what if they could determine what type of autoimmune, like you said, what level of the autoimmune I had, and to get blood work done to see if the autoimmune was attacking any internal organs. Like we could see what was going on the outside, but they just wanted to make sure it wasn't going on the inside, because autoimmune is different from every individual. Like my autoimmune tells when I have what's called a flare up, it tells my body to attack my hair. So that's the difference. It can be on different parts of the body. Everybody's autoimmune is not the same. So from there, it was a journey. It was a journey to figure out, like you said, all the medications. I won't go too much into it. We'll talk later in the show, just some of the treatments that I had to go through initially before I decided to start researching some more natural ways to combat what's going on. So I'll leave that for there, so we can have our next person introduce herself, and I'm pretty sure we'll get more into some details on that.
Absolutely. Again, if you all have just tuned in, please share this with especially a woman, because we're talking about things that we've experienced. And I thank our gentlemen that have joined us, especially my husband and Ty, because our men need to know as well, because they would need to be educated so that they can be sensitive to the needs of their partner. Because again, as women, something that I wrote on the flyer was, our emotions, our health and balance, and how it all ties in. And when we feel off balance, we know for a fact, as mothers, as wives, it can affect the entire household. Even if you're a single woman and you're by yourself, and that's so it sounds bad, like not that you're by yourself, but even if you don't have like children and a husband, and as an individual, it's a tough position to be in when you feel as if you're losing control.
Yeah.
So, let me just go ahead and say this. None of us are doctors on here.
Right.
We're just talking about
disclaimer.
our experiences.
Well, I'm not a doctor.
But we are absolutely willing to share out some things that have helped us along the way. I know that there was a comment. I feel like we have been taught as Black women to deal with things and not investigate. And I believe that came from Camille. And so I'm going to let Arshella, comment on that with what Camille just wrote.
Okay. You want me to comment on that, or which one you want me to go first?
Comment on it, and then we're going to go into your journey, especially your natural journey that you've been on for a long time.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I guess the clip that Toya was referring to, I put it out maybe like 2 days ago. When did I put it? I think it was Tuesday. And I can't come from a root canal. So it wasn't like as invasive as the different things we deal with. But just got put on my mind and said, you need to tell people. And I was like, I don't want to do no real. I don't want to put on the makeup and real. I don't do all that stuff. Me, I'm raw. And so he's like, just do it. So I was like, all right. So, so I just basically encourage people to speak up when you have pain. And it doesn't have to be physical pain. It could be emotional pain, mental pain, just to speak up, because, what I said was, I have a high pain threshold, but that doesn't mean I don't feel pain. And some people assume that, oh, you can't feel it. I can feel it. It's just not bothering me as much, And so, like she was saying, deal with it and don't investigate. It's like, why? So that was kind of like my short response to Camille. Is there any back feed? I feel like I'm echoing.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
I don't know how to change it, so I don't know if anybody has to mute or what, but let me know if it gets worse.
Okay.
So for my story, it started back in college. I was probably midway through college, and the actual thought that came to mind was, something's wrong with my blood. Now, who says that? Me. I'm okay with being weird, whatever. And I just felt like something was wrong with my butt, because I would eat something I would have a nice hearty breakfast, and like 2 hours later, I'm like shaking. I feel like I'm about to faint. Like I'm like starving. Like what? I just ate, a full breakfast. It could be pancakes, some meat or whatever. I'm like, why is this happening? So I went and got my blood drawn, and I attended University of Wisconsin. I'm in Madison, and it just so happened that it was a liver, no, autoimmune specialist who was there, Dr. Solomon. I still remember his name. And if it weren't for him and his specialties, they would not have known to look at my liver enzymes. So your liver enzymes is supposed to be about a 50. Mine was at 750. But my symptoms, I felt like my symptoms were that of diabetic, because no one really think of the liver. It's always you got sugar or you got salt. That's what we say, in the ghetto world. And so he said your enzymes are high, your liver is attacking itself. And I'm like, what does that mean? So long story short, he get me on prednisone, which is a steroid, and also Imuran, which is like basically counters a lot of the side effects of prednisone. So he put me on high doses of the prednisone. So my face swelled up. I started getting liver spots. My skin got dark. My hair got thin. Folks thought I was pregnant, and no one asked me. They would ask my friends, like, "Is she pregnant?" And I was like, "No, I'm just dying and trying to stay alive, And so, I can't help it. So the doctor said to me, "You're going to be on this medication forever." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And he was just like, "Okay." And so I started getting better because I was on 40 milligrams, and he started to wean me off as I got better. And then as I was getting better, I kind of stayed at I can't remember what the dosage was. And so I decided I was going to wean myself more. So I remembered how he weaned me off of the high dosage, and I kept doing that with the lower dosage. And I had to do blood tests like every month, which was like a liver panel is what they call it. And after about 3 months of me weaning myself off and my test results still being normal, then I told him I haven't been on a medication. And so he just kind of looked at me like, what? Because it's like, my body is being destroyed as I'm saving my liver. So I don't need a healthy liver if the rest of me is dying. I didn't tell him that, but that was my reason. So this is in college. So I kept eating like any other college person would. What's free, what's cheap, what's quick. And it wasn't until, so this is like that was about 96, 97. So fast forward to 2005 when I moved to Georgia right after I got married. So I was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver. So there's about, I think, 4 or 5 livers. And basically that's right before you get liver cancer.
Okay.
And I was frustrated because I didn't eat horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, my bad diet consists of like cousin subs from time to time, but my favorite was like Panera. So my junk food wasn't really junk food. And then I realized it was stress that would cause it to come back because I was in remission for a while. And I was like, so this time I had jaundice, my eyes were yellow, like I just felt horrible. And moved to Georgia, and this guy named Reuben Jordan, Dr. Reuben Jordan, came to our church. I attended FBA. Hold on, I'm talking. I'll read it later. What? I'm sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. Just mute yourself if you can,
Okay.
Arshella, real quick, and
All
we'll
right.
just take a quick commercial break. But this is part of the
Sorry, I
balance.
just
We're
want to
mothers.
jump in.
Okay. Thank you.
What you say? What you say? Did Anna
I
did you
just
say
want
something?
to jump in when yeah, I'll just jump in while she's taking a moment when she said as far as stress. I didn't want to miss that point because out that autoimmune is actually something that's always in your system. It was laying dormant. If you are pre-exposed to it, it was laying dormant in my system. I had some real traumatic events happen in 2021. And because of that, that caused my initial flare up when I started seeing some more shedding than normal. So I just wanted to put a pin on there because I thought at the time that I was doing that stress very well on that side. I had no idea that the internal stress, the way that it was handling it inside, was being handled well, which caused this initial flare up. And with autoimmune, once it flares, it's there. You have it forever. You can't get rid of it. You have it forever. So I just want to give her time to do that, but just put a pin on that, that we really, really do have to try to control stress in our lives, as cliche as it may seem, because at that time, I really did think that I was handling it very well because it wasn't showing to me on the outward, but I had no idea how bad it was affecting me inside. So I'll let her go ahead and finish off of that. I just want to say that.
Thank you, Amy. We're going to go back to that because the stress.
Yeah, I got something
too. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So basically at that time, I realized that stress was what was kind of like my tipping scale. And so I got married. Jordan Rubin was at my church, FBA, and he brought this book called Maker's Diet. And it was based off of, I think, the Daniel's Diet. This is before the Daniel's Diet got popular. But it's very similar to the Daniel's Diet, but it was a little bit more strict where you were limited certain foods and certain phases. And it was like different levels and supplements. I mean, the stuff we did, people be like, what? But my husband and I, we did it like full on hardcore for 40 days. And so that was like in June. And in September, when I got a liver biopsy, my liver was back to normal. Wow. And I was shocked because I didn't even know that my liver could go back to normal. I thought I wanted to stop the cirrhosis and not go further, but I forgot that the liver does replenish itself. And I was like, huh. And so at that moment, I had to just ask God for forgiveness. I'm like, Lord, forgive me, because I didn't even think that it was possible, to cure that. And so that was basically like the start of my diet as my medication, because I got off the medication and I haven't been back on it since then. And I always pray and ask God, if I have to see another doctor, please let it be a doctor that listens to me.
Yep.
Because I can't deal with a doctor who says, oh, well, people with this do this. I'm like, but not me.
Yes.
Or if I take this medication, well, these are the symptoms. I'm like, they're my symptoms. So if you can't listen to what I have to say, we can work together, because this is my body. You don't know my body. You may know the disease, but you don't know the disease in my body.
Right.
And let me say that's important to know. And this is why we have to advocate for ourselves, especially women of color. There was a question. You said it's the Maker's Diet?
Yeah.
Maker's Diet. Okay. That's what it is.
Like
maker meaning
makers
God the maker.
God the maker. It's biblically based. Yeah. It's not plant-based, actually. Some people assume that I'm vegan, but it's not plant-based. It's not.
Gotcha.
It's very particular. Like you can't, I learned about bottom feeders. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yep.
So those delicious shrimp and lobster that we paying a lot of money for is called a bottom feeder. We shouldn't be eating that. Sorry to disappoint you, ladies. Catfish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I tell you something? Listen, it's interesting how you raise your children and then they become adults and somehow you're an idiot and they feel the need to educate you. Right. So I have all adults now. So it's just like, clearly I don't know anything. These people were just born yesterday and just have all the answers. But my daughter, it's interesting she brought up, the bottom feeders, because my daughter has been taking, a look at that heavy. And I'll be the first to admit, y'all, when I tell you I love shrimp, I love lobster. I love it. Haven't had catfish in a while, and I'm just like, oh, we just like,
all you can eat crab that buffet.
You're-
Yeah.
I'm telling you the truth. But you know what I was thinking about? I think, for me, something that I am dealing with, and we're going to jump back into the stress part as well, but adenomyosis, had never heard of it. And when I tell you all, I went to a doctor and my husband was there and I told him, I'm not coming back. I said, because he's brushing me off. And again, Arshella, Nicole, my banana, everybody that is watching, we have to take like serious control with our health. And I told my husband, I said, he's brushing me off. I can't remember the name of, but I have an aggressive form of fibroids. Adenomyosis is in the endometrial lining finding its way into your uterus. So every month it feels as if I'm in actual labor. Not an ibuprofen. And Anna knows I do not like to pop pills. But the fact that I started taking Midol and ibuprofen like clockwork, and it still wasn't taking away the pain, like I'm waking up in a fetal position.
Yep.
And I believe wholeheartedly that we cannot just pray. The word of God says faith without works is dead.
Right.
So you cannot pray for God to heal you, but you're still eating the foolishness.
Right. Thank you,
can't
Lord.
do that. We have to do some research. He says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. We have to dig deeper.
Yeah.
Newsflash for those of you all that are in the US of A, we are not trained to eat properly. We are trained to pop pills. Which, like you said, Arshella, you want me to take something that's going to help my liver but destroy the rest of my body? No. If you are going to, ladies, if you're going to a gynecologist, whomever, and they are brushing you off like you just the next number in line, you need to find you somebody else.
Yep.
I think Camille says,
I do. I just want to jump in there, Toya.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody put my money, and if I'm paying you listening, and I just want to jump in on that because that's a good point because we're not going to talk about the medical bills that I had got trying to deal with 2 different dermatologists because, like you said, the first one I was in there for 15 minutes, and I have to pay you $2,000 for you to had not even known anything about me. You just looked at my hair and gave me, like you said, a general answer. Because when I was second opinion, and the first thing he said was they didn't do a biopsy. He would not even discuss anything with me until that biopsy came back. Yeah. You cannot know what's going on with the scalp until you test it. I was floored. Yeah. Floored.
And we
forgot to say what so true.
I forgot to say what my autoimmune disease was.
Yeah.
It's called autoimmune hepatitis. And most doctors have never heard of it. It's not any of the hepatitis A, B, C, or whatever. It's autoimmune. And as you all know, it's autoimmune, which is, inside. It's kind of like an HIV. I of the HIV is immune. So it's basically my body attacking my liver as if it's not supposed to be there.
Yep.
So that's what I have.
I had no idea.
Go ahead, Toya.
No, but it's just you are. This is so wonderful.
And everybody.
Yes, I had no idea that Arshella had an autoimmune disease. Wow. All 3 of you.
Wow.
No idea. Go on, Nicole.
You're so right when you talk about the cost. I can't tell you how much money over the last at least 7 years I have spent going to your traditional doctors, but then also holistic doctors, down to the point where most recently, when I mentioned that they've taken me off of, or I've taken myself off of the steroid medicine, that prescription cost me $10. I got a call this week saying, okay, there is another healthier option for you. However, insurance won't cover it.
Nope.
Out of pocket, it's $1,700. but the risk and the side effects is so much lower than the steroid. And I said, that makes no sense at all. You mean to tell me I have to pay more for a healthier option that's non-steroid that will treat me, a lot better than a steroid that's causing me to trend towards a cancer diagnosis? Something is up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we just have to be true advocates for our own health and do not stop until you get answers.
Let me tell you something. Again, the faith without works.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do some research. You can't go on there expecting them to just hand over some information, because unfortunately, they are not trained. When we go to the doctor, they're not giving us holistic ways in which our body should heal itself. Let me tell you what I did. I started typing in, okay, fibroids. I need to take a look. My mother-in-law sent me something, and this lady told me, I saw this lady, I don't even know how I started following her, but she encouraged me to buy a CPAC and get some get some castor oil. When I tell you I bought the CPAC, I just started. I don't know how my body is going to respond to it, but I can tell you this: I'm going to do the work, because as I pray, I'm still going to do something that's going to go along with the prayer. That's what I want to encourage people with.
Yeah.
You have to do
and with
something.
that, Toya, too, even with your prayer, say for me, it was the prayer for, like you said, you have to do something with works, but it was also just to keep my mental capacity going through all of this. When you're like, Nicole said, you're going to different doctors and nobody's telling you anything. And then I just want to go back to what you said before, as far as like when they give you stuff and to read, most of us don't read it. Actually read it. When they were giving me all of this medication, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I had to get actual steroid shots in my scalp to stop the active flare-up that I was having at the time. So we're not even going to talk about that cost of that. That's separate than the doctors and everything else. But I said that to say this, because they also gave me an oral medication, and then I forgot the name of a topical oil to use. Those medications that they wanted to give me, the side effects to me were worse than losing my hair if I lost my hair. That actually was going to, like you said, Nicole, that had a potential of long-term use to damage my liver. I stopped taking that, and I started researching and support groups. I'm actually a part of alopecia support groups on Facebook, which has been a wealth of knowledge, yes, of natural remedies of other women, like we said, talking about this and saying the same thing about all of these medications, where I found out that things like taking collagen in the morning has helped. Pumpkin seed oil, a natural, what they call DHT blocker. I won't even get into DHT because that's a whole nother show with your hormones, but it's a natural DHT blocker. Reading the ingredients on your products. For me, I had to get very, very researched on hair products. I had to go a year with nothing, no heat, no extensions, no stress, nothing on my scalp for a year. But taking that time during that of finding out some natural remedies, giving it the time to work. We want results. No one is instant, results. It'll take months to kind of see some things, and consistency. And before I let it forget, I'm not going to stress, for us that have partners, the support of a very supportive partner. My partner being so supportive. Everybody who knows me, know him, Terrell. So supportive throughout this journey that just, I think, helped catapult my mental to keep me on the regimen and the consistency that I needed to have as well. So and it doesn't have to be a actual spouse, but your support group, your support system even, my friends as my sisters to call and say, girl, it looked like my hair is still, I'm still losing my hair. To have that is very important. So I would say really research what they give you, read what they give you, read for yourself, not just what the pamphlet I went online. And then don't be afraid, like you said, to try some natural things and get support groups.
Yeah.
And the hair products.
I mean,
Be what's in those hair products.
yeah, very true. I had to, I mean, y'all probably see I make everything from my own hair products to my own deodorant, food, whatever. But I will say, of course, having a partner is very important, but I think educating our children is extremely important. So I help my children understand how to listen to their body. So I do a lot of natural. I cook from scratch most of the time, and we spend over 1,000 easy on our grocery bill because that's our medicine. So I'm okay with spending all this money here because I don't want to be in the hospital or taking all this medication. Because I'm one of those people where I'll say, very few will experience this. That's me. I'm the very few. Right. Food is medicine. And so if
Wow.
you think about it, a lot of times when people go to study medicine, it's not about health. They're studying medicine. I don't ever hear anyone say I'm going to study the human anatomy or the brain. I'm
That's
studying
true.
medicine with a focus on this. I'm like, well, shouldn't the brain be first and then medicine? And so there's a history with that. And so I've been forced, to kind of do my own research because I'm like, okay, well, this medication isn't working right, or I'm taking it the way you said, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But I'm like, okay, so now I have to sit here and figure out within myself, how do I do it? And I'm still, after, however many years,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what works for me because as I feel like I'm going through menopause, but my cycle is literally 28 days, but I'm having all these other odd symptoms. And the same thing, Nicole, like, oh, you're fine, you're fine. No, I'm not. Something isn't right. And clearly you're not going to figure it out. So then now I have to,
Yep.
And so I can go a whole lot into that. But, speaking of educating your children, so if we go to like a potluck and my children see a homemade cake and some really pretty bright colored ones, they're going to go to the homemade cake
Yep.
because they know better. I've showed them, you know, go use the bathroom. They know how to look at their poop. What does good poop look like? What's bad poop look like? What does it feel like? We have to go into details about everything because you're not
We
going to be
do.
like, I don't know, so they know if they see something, nah, I remember how I felt when I had this, or I remember what happened. So you can
Mm-hmm.
either, fill your taste buds or fill your body, but you have to make a decision and you got to learn from those consequences.
But I love what you said, Arshella, about, you'd rather spend the money on food. And we all talk about how high food is, right? And we know, unfortunately, it does cost a bit more. Some people say it don't, but it does. It costs a bit more to eat
Mm-hmm.
healthier. I prefer, if I'm going to have salmon, I want it to be wild caught.
Yeah.
Wild caught
Mm-hmm.
salmon costs
Yes,
way more than farm raised.
it does.
So
Yeah.
I already know there's going to be a huge price jump. And I'll be looking at the bill like feeling like I'm explaining to my husband why I had to spend so much money. And I'm like, he like, babe, I'm like, but no, I want you to know these prices. I was like, I'm not buying foolishness. I'm buying
Yeah.
fruits, vegetables, and good meat.
That's what I say. Fruits. Try
Yeah.
buying some fruits and some green peppers. Yeah, that's about $100 by itself.
But you know what, Toya, to that point, in my meditation time, the message came to me, you're going to either pay now
Or
Okay,
later.
yeah.
or you're going to pay later.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather pay now for healthy food options. And that sweatshirt really should say real food is medicine.
There
Because
you
not
Thank
go.
all
you.
food is medicine.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Real
Unfortunately.
food is medicine. Or you're going to pay for doctor bills when we're 60, 70, and based upon the trend we're going, we may not even reach that age if we continue on the
Right.
trajectory that we're going.
Yep.
So I
Mm-hmm.
tell people, eliminate sugar. eliminate sugar at all costs. My autoimmune specifically was birthed from an autoimmune, which I didn't know at the time. When I was in middle school, I was diagnosed with vitiligo, where your skin, the melanin of your skin turns
I remember
white,
that.
right?
I remember your fingers being different colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that until just this year in my Facebook support group, Anna, that you spoke about, which has been a wealth of knowledge. And knowing that that is kind of the seed of where I am today. But what has caused my autoimmune to flare is because my lack of treating myself or feeding myself healthy food. I can no longer have sugar, gluten, wheat, corn, grains. These are things that my body, that when I eat them, within 5 minutes, I go into a flare.
Wow.
So take care of your gut health is vitally important. And granted, there were times I would hear this, and even early on with these diagnoses, I would still eat it. But it's like, oh, you're miserable. Now you're going back to feeling the way that you were. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
And in my meditation time, the Holy Spirit telling me, you have the power to heal yourself. Your healing comes through your discipline and choosing what and not to eat. That is your healing process.
Discipline is big.
You probably want to say
Really
that
big,
again.
Nicole.
Because we're
Yes,
so
it is really big. Discipline and
so
consistency.
much. But it's like, do I choose that I want to eat, or do I choose how I want to feel after?
Yes. Yes. And for those of you that have just tuned in, I want to thank you all.
Because the main thing.
Oh, yeah. Hold on once, Anna, because it's just a bit of a delay. I don't want you to feel like I'm talking over you. It's just a slight bit of a delay. But hold on, someone had a question before we get into that. She said, can you share the name of the Facebook support group? And I don't know which support, because I know all of you are, I know, Anna, you have a support group. Cody, you're in a support group. So if you both can just mention it, your support groups right now to help everyone.
And I'm going to find the name.
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. And they'll look, and when you guys get a chance, just type it in
the name.
Type it in the chat, because sometimes when we hear things, it would make we have to repeat maker. Sometimes we want to make sure we give them the right information. But Cody, you have a question?
I have a question.
Yeah, someone has a question for you. Can you see it?
Oh, yes, I can. Oh, there are tons out there. Oh gosh, right now
I think it has. Before you answer, they need to figure out what their gut health is, because it's not like you gotta figure out what. Yeah,
it's not a one size fits all type of approach with, especially with autoimmune.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say also, because we talked about what. Can you hear me? Okay.
Anna, just type it in the in the comments. Yeah, type it in there for her.
Type it in the chat.
Okay. As a stay-at-home mom, I had to learn to rest and to stop, which for myself personally was hard, because I didn't go to college to stay home, but God was like, "You staying home." So I'm like, okay, but I don't technically stay home. So I had to learn how to say no, and I had to learn how to tell myself to stop, because people assume that you're stay-at-home mom, you're always available, you're always there, including your children and your husband who loves you dearly. But it's just like, okay, what are we gonna have today? Y'all having whatever is in the refrigerator, because I'm tired. Because we push ourselves, and if we tired and we still slaving at the stove, or we still doing this and doing that, and they see us tired, we can't it's same way with the doctor. If we can't tell ourselves to stop and take care of ourselves, then other people gonna keep pushing us too. And so I'm like, I'm getting a little too close to 50 to be trying to wear myself out. So if I decide I just don't feel like doing it, I'm not gonna do it. So you have to, the self-care looks different for everyone else. but I have to kind of learn if I'm going to stress myself out, I can't blame anybody else if I'm, pushing myself past my limit.
I have recently come up with what I've coined as my health wellness cocktail. And it consists of several things. First and foremost, prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer and meditation has been huge in this journey because that's where I've been getting my initial information on next steps to take.
Yes.
The second thing has been mental health therapy. When I tell you the last 3 years, I've gone through 4 therapists until I found the right one. Now that a lot of mental health therapists just do kind of surface level therapy, which is all well and good. But I knew for myself, I needed somebody who was going to dig deep, who was going to call me on my BS, who was going to keep me accountable.
Mm-hmm.
I love Michelle so much. She is a rock star. She's part of my cocktail. So that's number 2. Number 3, quarterly detoxing the body is huge. We were never taught that once a quarter, we should be detoxing the body and eliminating just so that the body can have time to rest and heal, to your point, right? The 4th thing is exercise. I hate exercising. I don't like the gym. I don't go to the gym. I either walk, and my love right now, the last 3 months, I now work out in the metaverse, and we can talk about that differently. But in the virtual reality, that is where I work out, and I get a really good workout. With detoxing and exercise and changing my eating, I have dropped 15 pounds in the last 3 months. Then, in addition to that, I also use CBD products from the medical properties. The medical benefits of the plant has been phenomenal for my body. 5th is holistic eating as much as possible. And somebody asked, I think early on, why is Cody crying? Because Anna was speaking about her husband. And y'all,
It's okay.
My husband is a godsend to me.
Awesome.
He's the chef in our family. Everybody loves his cooking, but going through this, and when we found out that I had to change my eating, this man would literally make separate meals. A meal for me to eat, and then a meal for the family to eat. Not everybody would do that. And today, he still does that because he knows that it's a benefit to me. And so I am beyond grateful for Tyron Robertson for coming into my life and being my support system. And then lastly, corrective chiropractic care. I do all of that now. I will not go a month without doing all of that in some form or fashion, because that health wellness cocktail has worked for me.
Wow.
I like what you said, Nicole, like knowing your personal cocktail. I kind of jotted down, I'll try to jot down things that come to mind. And unfortunately, we in the USA aren't cared for.
No,
and I mean the rich, I mean the poor, I mean the middle class, I mean the Trump family, the Kardashians, and little JJ down the road. Like, they don't care if the USDA, the FDA, all the things they allow and they approve as organic or all natural. Well, it can say this. Why would you allow something to say what it really isn't?
Yeah.
Makes absolutely no sense to me. And it's like, I was just looking at the different trends and how, children that are younger and younger are being diagnosed with cancer, diabetes. And one, I think it's because we don't push our kids to exercise. But I think another one is just the soil that we're on.
Yeah.
We can go and get organic food and there still be a recall. And so people wonder why I be slaving in my garden, because I'm trying my best, to do something, But it's just sad because I just feel like they aren't taking care of their people,
Yeah.
allowing us to eat this stuff, pay all this money to still eat crap,
Yep.
and it's just not right.
Let me
We
tell you
can't,
something. No.
like you said about the chiropractor, like the things that help me the most, my medical don't cover it, and my husband works for the state.
Yep.
I have to pay for the chiropractor. I got to pay for, for health stuff. I have to pay for massage. I'm like, massage helps me more than hydrocodone, but you give me 10 cents for hydrocodone, but you won't cover the massage. Like,
Can I tell you? Let me tell you something. When you mentioned the soil, when I tell y'all Camille was my sister, because I said I'm gonna say this off camera, but Camille said it for us. The soil is cursed.
Yeah. Yep.
it is.
You
Look how it was
can't
obtained.
you can steal people land and then and think it's gonna be great. America was never great, and I said it on RETV.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It never
guys. You told me I
was.
can say whatever I want.
There is no reason why I should be able to leave the country, whether it's Jamaica or South Africa. And no matter what I eat on those two continents, my body does not have a negative reaction to it at all. The moment I get on a plane, not on the soil, the moment I get on a plane headed back to the US, and whatever they feed as far as, the little snack, my body has a reaction immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading ingredients and looking at it. Yep, that ain't real. That's not real food. That's not real food. That's not real food. Oh, can't eat this. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you all something. When I say this hour has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
When I looked down, I said, oh my goodness. And I know I'm respecting your time. Like, I know that we would have to, when I come back again, we would have to talk about this further, because I think what helps is that, sometimes people wait for a celebrity to come out and share their stories. And this is no knock on celebrities, but I'm an everyday woman.
Yeah.
Right.
I need to talk to people that are so high in the clouds that I need to be able to commune, and thank God for those support groups. And I did put them in there. I'm going to put those up really quickly again for the young lady that asked about it earlier. But part of this is we have to speak up. We have to investigate. We've heard over and over again to research. You all, those of you that are watching, there are 3 ladies on here, and they're all on Facebook. They're all on Instagram. Reach out. And something that I challenged Anna with was that she needs to start talking more. I know she doesn't really care to be on camera like that, but I share with her, Anna, just start sharing your story, because she is I'm telling you, just simple things. Like, I love, like, Anna is great with eyebrows. Anna's great with a lot of things. And I said, start sharing that, because we say the little things, but it's some of those little things that can make a woman push through during the day.
Yeah.
Some women don't know how to properly take care of their skin because some of us were never taught on the steps it takes for you just out here trying to figure. And you have all of those products. How many times, I know for myself, I have gone into a beauty supply store and it is inundated with product after product after product after product, and I'm like, I don't even know where to start, because again, just like with the gut health, everybody's texture is not the same.
Yep.
And I really want to buy products from people who look like me. If you don't know about our hair, I don't understand how you are making products for our hair. You don't really know what I'm
saying. Just to say that as well, Toya, just going through this, that I will say, like, representation again is important, because there are not a lot of products that are to alopecia that are mixtured hair. I'm going to put it that way.
Okay. Well, can I tell you something?
That's
Somebody's going to watch this
as well. Like, becoming
business opportunity.
Say,
there are products out there. They're just not catered to textured hair. So my hair may be straight right now, but when I have flare-ups and when I was going through the different stages, I had to learn to love my natural hair. We're talking about I couldn't straighten it, I couldn't wear braids, I extensions. I had to do nothing but natural hair. That's what started the journey on the groups, like you said, to figure out where to start. It's so many products out there. But yeah, representation is a big thing that I noticed that's lacking as well when you're dealing with certain issues with allergies.
You're right.
I think you said something, Nicole. Somebody asked, what did Nicole say? Because it kind of, you made a comment, but I think it kind of like overlapped when Anna was talking.
My comment was that's a business opportunity. And
yes, it is.
That's why you're on this journey, so that you can create the products that would help our people who suffer with the same autoimmune. I felt the same way in my support groups. I was like, I know I can't be the only African American woman. It's like 28,000 women in this support group, and I don't see any African American women commenting or answering questions. I said, I know I can't be the only one. So then, okay, I'm gonna have to start sharing my story, because I said, I know it's some sisters who out there who are suffering with this in silence, and they don't have to.
They don't have to. We really do not have to.
Try finding a Black dermatologist.
Yeah.
I found finally after 11 years.
Yeah. And so that maybe you can connect with Nicole, because I'm sure that they might have a special group for Black dermatologists. And especially where you are, Anna, I know for a fact there has to be a Black dermatologist there. We have to
all over Georgia.
we have to speak up, you all. And I know it's not always easy, but we have to create environments like this where women are going to be transparent. This is what I'm saying. We have all of these events with folks dressing up, and that's okay. That's okay. But what good is it for us to be dressing up and our health is declining? Remember, I said it's not just about how it's the external, but there's some things that we need to take care of on the inside. And so I really want to thank my guest for coming on tonight, because I told you I will respect your time. I want to thank those of you that have tuned in and joined with us. This has been so insightful. But before we go, you ladies, just hang on. And I'm going to have you go first, then Arshella, then Nicole. But I always like to end my show with there's nothing like. I like for my guests to finish that statement. So Anna will go, Arshella, then Nicole. Well, and again, in the meantime, I want everybody to stay safe, be safe, and be great.
Okay. For me, I would say it's cliche, but there's nothing like self-love. Just because when we talk about supportive partners, you do have to learn how to love yourself when you're getting all these different diagnoses or non-diagnoses, how to love yourself through any treatments, challenges. So just learning how to get that self-love within yourself. Because we're spiritual women, I would say, and if you're not, prayer is a very big one to help get you through. So if you don't have it, I truly suggest that if you are spiritual, try more prayer, try meditation, get into a prayer closet, like they say, if you have one, and be open and honest your support group. I'll just leave it at that. Self-love with yourself, get you a support group, and know that there's nothing better than you. There's no one out here that's better than you.
Am I next? Okay. I would say there's nothing like self-advocacy. And that doesn't just include speaking up for yourself, but learning about yourself and continue, because your body changes, everything changes. So learn about yourself, speak up for yourself, encourage others to speak up for themselves, and teach others how to speak up for themselves. So I also put because I know that my name, I don't think is on my Instagram. but it's Tweakable Life Creations, which is Instagram as well as YouTube.
Okay.
And mine is Toya. What was the first part of your sentence? I'm sorry.
There's nothing like.
There is nothing like forgiveness. Forgiving yourself and forgiving others. It is the most powerful thing that has helped me to transform my life. There is nothing like forgiveness.
Wow. When I tell you, I am so grateful to God for everything coming together. Again, I am going to push. Y'all know every week I am preaching. If there's anything that I'm preaching, I am preaching. Subscribe to Relationship Entertainment Television. We are living in a society where we know that falsehoods are being put out there. And we as a community, I don't hide the fact that I am a proud Black woman, never will. We in our community have to do better with supporting one another.
Yeah.
And part of the support, some of you that are watching, if you haven't done so already, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to Relationship Entertainment Television. This is why we're able to have these conversations. When I say transparency is so important, and I commend you ladies for coming on and talking about what you've experienced. Nicole, to share that. There are marriages that are suffering. The wives that aren't even telling their husbands what's going on. Then you got your husband thinking you out here cheating because you can't figure out what's going on with you because you won't go ask any questions to the doctor. Start somewhere.
Right.
Because again, like Anna told me on the phone earlier, you can put in Google, but my goodness, what comes in there, you're gonna diagnose yourself with death immediately. So you need to go to the doctor and don't just stop with them.
Yeah.
So I thank you all for your transparency. Those of you that have hung in there with us, I thank you all as well. Please subscribe to Relationship Entertainment Television. And I'm not going to do that to myself. Please like and follow Women's Champ on Instagram. Ty is amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and let him
He is amazing.
Yeah, I know why Nicole doing that. Ty is amazing. He's amazing. And so are those of you that have supported the Women's Champ Show. I ask that you tune in next week, Thursday. We're going to have men and women on. It's going to be the season finale, and you all will get a chance to meet the owner for those of you that have not had a chance to see his face. But if nothing else, you all, let's take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. Let's love ourselves and let's take care of ourselves. And you all have a wonderful night.
Bye.